Have you ever wondered if a simple daily habit could quietly lead to an early death? As we get older, we start paying closer attention to our health, watching what we eat, taking our medications, and trying to stay active. But sometimes, it's not the obvious things that cause the most harm. It's the silent, easily overlooked habits that slowly build up and become dangerous. In fact, there are certain mistakes many older adults make that might seem small or harmless at first, but over time they can lead directly to serious illness or even early death. In this video, we're going to walk through 5 of the deadliest mistakes older people make. Mistakes that doctors warn about, but few people talk openly about. From what you ignore in your daily routine to what you refuse to talk to your doctor about. Each one of these has the power to change your life, and not for the better. But the good news is, once you know what they are, you can take action. You can fix them, and in many cases, you can prevent the most serious consequences from ever happening. Stay with me until the end, because these 5 mistakes could make the difference between living longer or not. They're simple, but they're serious, and knowing how to spot and avoid them might just save your life or the life of someone you love. Let's get started. Mistake number 1. Ignoring sudden changes in appetite or weight. One of the most dangerous mistakes many older adults make is brushing off unexpected changes in appetite or sudden weight loss. It might start out small, a little less interest in food, pants feeling looser than usual, a skipped meal here and there. But if you find yourself or someone you care about steadily losing weight without trying, or suddenly eating far less than normal, it's not something to dismiss. It's one of the clearest signals that something deeper might be going wrong inside the body. When people reach their 60s, 70s, or 80s, it's easy to attribute appetite changes to aging itself. You might hear things like, "I just don't get as hungry anymore," or "food doesn't taste the same." And while taste and digestion can change with age, the body still needs fuel. And when it stops asking for it, that's a red flag. Appetite loss is the body's way of whispering that something's off. Ignoring that whisper can lead to bigger problems down the road. Unintended weight loss can be a sign of a number of serious conditions: cancer, heart failure, thyroid issues, chronic infections, or even depression. And the danger is many of these don't show up with pain or dramatic symptoms right away. Weight loss might be the only early warning sign. That's why catching it matters so much. It gives you a chance to find a root problem before it spirals out of control. Let me tell you about Harold, 78, who lives in Pennsylvania. His daughter noticed he'd gone from a size 38 waist to a 34 in just a few months. He shrugged it off and said he was just eating lighter these days. But she knew something wasn't right. After convincing him to see his doctor, they discovered early-stage colon cancer. Because they caught it early, he received treatment. And today, he's back to gardening and grilling steaks for his grandkids. That's the power of paying attention. Another reason this mistake is so deadly is because weight loss in older adults doesn't just weaken the body. It reduces muscle mass, lowers immunity, and makes falls, infections, and complications far more likely. It creates a fragile foundation that even a small illness can shake. And when the body starts to shrink, so does energy, balance, and resilience. So what should you watch for? Notice if your clothes are fitting differently. Keep an eye on the scale every few weeks. Ask yourself if meals are going unfinished more often. If food doesn't appeal to you the way it used to, or if eating feels like a chore, don't ignore it. These changes aren't just part of getting older. They are your body's early alerts, and they deserve your full attention. Mistake number 2, avoiding the doctor out of fear or pride. One of the deadliest mistakes many older adults make is avoiding the doctor. Not because they don't have symptoms, but because they're afraid of what they might hear or too proud to ask for help. It sounds harmless on the surface. "I'll be fine. I don't want to bother anyone." These phrases may feel comforting in the moment, but behind them lies a dangerous form of denial that can cost lives. As we age, our risk for serious conditions increases. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, stroke. Many of these can be treated or even reversed when caught early. But if you delay that first appointment or ignore the warning signs, you're giving these conditions time to grow stronger, while your chances of fighting them grow weaker. That's not just a delay. That's a gamble with your life. The fear of hearing bad news is real. No one wants to be told something's wrong. But the truth is, finding out early gives you power. It gives you time, choices, and a path forward. Ignoring the problem doesn't make it go away. It makes it harder to treat when you finally do face it, and by then it might be too late. Pride can be just as dangerous. Some people grew up in a time when you only saw the doctor if you were on your deathbed. Others think asking for help means showing weakness. But in reality, the strongest thing you can do is take care of yourself. Taking action doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to protect your health and stay here longer for the people who care about you. I once met a man named Walter, 81, who hadn't seen a doctor in over a decade. He prided himself on never needing checkups. "I've got a strong constitution," he'd say. But when he finally gave in and got checked after some chest discomfort, he found out he had severe blockage in his arteries. He was lucky. A week later, he had a stent put in. His doctor told him, "If you'd waited another month, we wouldn't be having this conversation." Walter now jokes, "My strongest move was dropping that stubborn streak." If you notice chest tightness, shortness of breath, unusual fatigue, or changes in your sleep or energy, don't wait. Don't Google it. Get it checked. Sometimes it's nothing, and that peace of mind is worth a visit. But if it is something, catching it early could mean years of added life. Life you get to spend doing what you love with the people who love you. This mistake, avoiding the doctor, has taken too many lives too soon. It's preventable, and it starts with a simple phone call. Don't let fear or pride keep you from making that call. You might just be saving your own life. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Mistake number 3, neglecting regular medication reviews. One of the most quietly dangerous mistakes many older adults make is taking their medications exactly as prescribed, but never checking back in to make sure those prescriptions are still right for them. It sounds responsible at first. You're following the doctor's orders. You're taking everything on time. But here's the hidden danger. Over time, medications can interact with each other. Your body can change, and what once helped you could actually start hurting you. As we age, our kidneys, liver, and digestive system process medication differently. A pill that worked perfectly well 5 years ago might now stay in your system longer than it should or react differently with a new prescription you were given last month. And yet, many people continue to take the same dosages for years without ever reviewing whether it's still safe or necessary. That's where the danger lies. One of the most common and deadly problems is drug interactions. You might have 5 or 6 prescriptions, blood pressure pills, cholesterol medicine, sleep aids, or anti-inflammatories, and each one may seem harmless on its own. But when combined, they can cause dizziness, confusion, fatigue, or even heart problems. Some people end up in the emergency room with symptoms that look like a stroke, but are actually caused by too much or the wrong mix of medications. And it's not just prescriptions. Over-the-counter medications, supplements, and herbal remedies can also cause serious reactions. Mixing a common pain reliever like ibuprofen with blood thinners, for example, can lead to internal bleeding. Taking calcium or magnesium at the wrong time can reduce how well other medications work. These aren't rare situations. They happen more often than you'd think, especially when no one is monitoring the full picture. Let me share a story about Margaret, a 76-year-old widow from Illinois. She was taking medications prescribed by 3 different doctors, a cardiologist, a rheumatologist, and her primary care provider. None of them had a full list of what the others were prescribing. Margaret began experiencing lightheadedness, nausea, and constant fatigue. She thought it was just aging, but after a medication review by a new doctor, they discovered she was taking 2 drugs that were canceling each other out, and a third that was building up to toxic levels. Within a week of adjusting her medication list, she felt clearer, more energized, and like herself again. This mistake often isn't about being careless. It's about trusting that what worked yesterday will still work tomorrow. But your body changes. Your lifestyle changes. Even your diet or your water intake can affect how medication behaves in your system. That's why it's so important to sit down with a doctor or pharmacist at least once a year, preferably more often, and go through everything you're taking. If you haven't had a medication review in the last year, make the call. Bring a written list to your next appointment. Make sure every doctor you see knows exactly what you're taking. Your health is too valuable to leave to chance. Taking medication responsibly doesn't end with taking it on time. It also means making sure what you're taking is still right for you. Don't assume that because you've taken something for years, it's automatically safe. You deserve to have a medication plan that protects your health, not risks it. Mistake number 4, not drinking enough water. It might sound too simple to be deadly, but not drinking enough water is one of the most overlooked health threats for older adults. Dehydration is often mistaken for fatigue, dizziness, confusion, or even early dementia. And by the time it becomes obvious, it can already be causing serious harm. If you regularly go through the day without enough fluids, or if you wait until you feel thirsty to take a sip, your body could be quietly suffering in ways you don't even notice. As we age, the body's ability to sense thirst decreases. You might not feel thirsty even when your cells are begging for water. And since older adults often drink less to avoid frequent bathroom trips, or because they don't want to be up at night, dehydration becomes more common. But what most people don't realize is how critical water is to nearly every function in the body, especially in later life. When you're even mildly dehydrated, your blood thickens. That puts more pressure on your heart. Your kidneys strain to keep up. Your brain function dips. It becomes harder to concentrate, remember things, or stay steady on your feet. And for many seniors, that's exactly how falls happen. Lightheadedness, poor balance, or sudden fatigue, all linked to not drinking enough water. One particularly dangerous side effect of dehydration is low blood pressure. For some, it may trigger fainting. For others, it can mimic symptoms of a stroke or severe illness. Emergency rooms see it all the time. Seniors brought in for confusion or weakness, only to find out they simply hadn't had enough water that day. But by then, the damage may already be done. There's also a more chronic danger. Long-term dehydration can lead to urinary tract infections, kidney stones, and even impaired heart function. It may even affect how well your medications work. Some medications require proper hydration to be absorbed or processed correctly. Without it, they might become less effective or too strong. Let me tell you about George, 82, who lives in Arizona. His daughter noticed he seemed more forgetful and wobbly than usual. He'd been skipping his usual walks and napping more than usual. She feared the worst. But after a trip to the clinic, all signs pointed to chronic dehydration. George admitted he'd been avoiding water because it just didn't appeal anymore. They came up with a simple plan: flavored water, herbal teas, and a reminder chart on the fridge. Within a week, he was clearer, steadier. Sipping small amounts throughout the day is far better than waiting until you're thirsty. Keep a glass nearby. Use a favorite mug or water bottle. Infuse it with fruit or mint if plain water doesn't appeal to you. The key is consistency. And remember, coffee and alcohol don't count towards your hydration. They actually increase fluid loss. So, if you enjoy your morning coffee or an evening glass of wine, be sure to balance it out with plenty of water in between. Dehydration doesn't make headlines, but it quietly causes more hospital visits, more falls, more confusion, and more preventable complications than most people realize. And the worst part is it's so easy to fix. Don't make the mistake of ignoring your body's need for water. Staying hydrated is one of the simplest, most powerful ways to stay strong, sharp, and safe at any age. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Mistake number 5, staying socially isolated. One of the most underestimated threats to health in older adults isn't physical, it's emotional. Staying socially isolated might not seem deadly at first glance, but research shows it can be just as dangerous as smoking, obesity, or heart disease. If you're spending most of your days alone, rarely connecting with friends or family, or avoiding social situations, you could be putting your health and your life at serious risk. Human beings are wired for connection. It's not just about having company. It's about feeling seen, heard, and valued. When that connection disappears, so does a vital part of what keeps us mentally and physically healthy. Social isolation has been linked to higher risks of heart attacks, strokes, depression, cognitive decline, and even early death. And the scariest part, it often happens slowly over time. and many people don't even realize it's affecting them until they're in the middle of it. Older adults are especially vulnerable. Friends and spouses may pass away. Children may live far away. Physical limitations or health concerns might make it harder to get out of the house. At first, it might feel like you're just enjoying some quiet time, but weeks turn into months, and that silence can start to weigh on your heart and mind. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. But when isolation becomes the norm and there's no meaningful interaction, no real conversation, no shared laughter, no moments of connection, that's when the risk starts to rise. The brain needs engagement, the heart needs companionship, and the soul needs to know it matters to someone. Let me tell you about Helen, 79, who lived alone in rural Kentucky. After her husband passed, she slowly withdrew from her church group and stopped attending her weekly card games. At first, she told herself she was just tired. But over time, she began sleeping more, eating less, and feeling anxious for no clear reason. Her daughter encouraged her to join a community center for seniors. At first, Helen resisted. "I don't want to be around strangers," she said. But after one visit and one warm conversation with another widow, something shifted. Now Helen attends twice a week and leads the trivia games. She says it brought her back to life. Staying socially connected doesn't have to mean being surrounded by people all the time. It could be as simple as a weekly phone call with a friend, a regular lunch date, or joining an online group with shared interests. It's about regular, meaningful contact, something that reminds you that you're not alone, that your thoughts and presence matter to someone, and the benefits aren't just emotional. Social interaction supports brain health, reduces stress hormones, and even strengthens the immune system. People who stay socially active tend to live longer, recover from illness faster, and maintain sharper thinking well into old age. If you found yourself pulling away, consider this your gentle wake-up call. It's not about becoming a social butterfly. It's about keeping your heart open and your spirit alive. Reaching out isn't always easy, but it's one of the strongest things you can do for your health. Don't fall into the silent trap of isolation. Connection could be the very thing that adds years to your life and more life to your years. Your story isn't over, and the next chapter might start with a simple hello. Final thoughts. Your power to change and thrive. Now that we've walked through these 5 deadly but preventable mistakes, take a quiet moment to ask yourself, have any of these crept into your life without you even realizing it? That's a tricky thing about habits. They build slowly without alarms until one day you're feeling tired, foggy, or weaker, and you don't know why. But here's the good news. Just as quietly as these mistakes show up, they can also be reversed with awareness, intention, and small changes. Every single one of these mistakes, ignoring changes in appetite, avoiding the doctor, not reviewing medications, skipping water, and withdrawing from others, has taken lives too early. But there are also mistakes that can be corrected starting today. You don't need a massive overhaul. You don't need to become someone else. What you need is to pay attention, take yourself seriously, and treat your health like the precious gift it is. And if you're watching this video, it means you care. You want to stay strong, stay sharp, and stay around for yourself and for the people who love you. That desire alone already sets you apart. Most people wait until something goes wrong. But you're here now, before the emergency, learning how to prevent it. So here's my question to you. Which one of these 5 stood out the most?